guys, welcome back to another lesson on our Unit 11 geometry. Today we are talking about perimeter. And before we get to that, we're always going to do a quick review of everything we've learned so far in our geometry unit. So far we've learned about 5 geometric figures, and we have also learned that geometry is the study of shapes and figures. These 5 figures that we're talking about are points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. A point shows an exact location, and it looks just like a little dot. You can use this to show a point on a number line, or a point on a map, or a point on Fortnite where you're going to land. A point just shows an exact location. Next, we have a line. A line is our normal line, but it has 2 arrows on the end because our line goes on forever in both directions. It's like a number line without the numbers. So our line has 2 arrows on the end because it goes on forever and ever and ever. Next, we have a line segment. A line segment is very closely related to a line. Except for arrows on the end, it has 2 end points because it is a section of a line. It has a start point and an end point, making it a segment or a section. So a line segment looks just like a line, but it has 2 end points instead because it does not go on forever in both directions. Next, we have Rayray, and Rayray is a point that goes in one direction. It's like a ray of sunshine. You've got your sun, and you've got a ray of sunshine coming off of it going in one direction. Or you can think about Rayray and him singing in the band One Direction. Remember, this is his little head right here, and he sings out, ah, in one direction. And last but not least, we have the angle. The angle has 1 end point, and it has 2 arrows coming out of that point. 2 lines coming out of it, making an angle. An angle, an A, is actually an angle in and of itself, a capital A, because you have the point at the top, and then you have the 2 lines coming down. So an angle can look like this, it can look like this, it can be small, it can be wide. You can have a straight angle. There's a lot of different possibilities that you will get into more when you're in 4th grade. So next, we have learned what a polygon is. A polygon is a shape with lines that connect. And it is a flat shape, it is a closed shape, and it has straight lines, no curves. So all of these polygons you see in front of me, we have triangles, we have some rhombuses, a square, a trapezoid, a parallelogram, a pentagon, a hexagon, a decagon. I think I have a heptagon in there. All of these shapes are flat. They're not 3D. They are closed. They don't have any openings or crisscrosses. They have straight lines in them. They do not have curves. No curves at all. And they have at least 3 sides or more. If you only had 2 sides, then it would be open because that would be an angle. So if we add that 3rd line on there, that makes a triangle, and that is a polygon. Next, we have some shapes that are not polygons. If you look carefully at these, a lot of these shapes have curves, which means that they're not polygons. They have openings, which means they're not polygons, or they're 3D, which means they are not polygons, or they crisscross, which means they are not polygons. They are not flat, they are not closed, they are not straight lines only. They have curves. So all of these shapes here are not polygons. Next, let's go over our specific polygons that we have learned based on the number of sides that they have. If a polygon has 3 sides, it is a triangle because tri means 3. If it has 4 sides, it's called a quad or a quadrilateral. A quad has 4 sides because the word quad means 4. Like on Fortnite, when you drive a quad, that's a 4-wheeler. Or if you're trying to make a squad, the most you can have in your squad is 4. So your quad squad has 4 people in it, or 4 sides. Underneath the category of quadrilaterals, you have squares, you have the kite shape, you have trapezoids, rectangles, rhombuses, trapezoids. There's a lot of shapes that only have 4 sides, but the category is quad because quad means 4 sides. Next, we have the pentagon. The pentagon down there in the corner, little green guy, he has 5 sides. And we remember pentagon because we hold a pen with 5 fingers, and that is our pentagon. We have 5 fingers on our hand, and we hold that pen with all 5 fingers. So that makes pentagon 5 sides. Next, we have hexagon, our little yellow guy there. A hexagon has 6 sides because hex and 6 both have an X in them, okay? And they are the only shapes and numbers that have an X in them that we're talking about. So 6 and hexagon both have X's, making them the same thing. So a hexagon has 6 sides. Next, we have Happy the Hippie. Woohoo, our fave. And Happy the Hippie, she has 7 sides. When I hold up 7 fingers, I'm holding a peace sign and a high five. That's because Happy is so friendly. She has so many friends. She's like, always hold up the peace sign and a high five for anybody. So Happy has 7 sides. Happy the Hippie has 7 sides. Next, we have an octagon. An octagon has 8 sides, and it is a stop sign. That is what shape a stop sign is an octagon. We remember octagon because the prefix octa means 8, just like an octopus has 8 tentacles. An octagon has 8 sides. Next, we have a nonagon, which is our orange dude up here. Nonagon sounds like ninagon because 9 and 9 are the same thing. Ninagon, nonagon, ninagon, nonagon. So the nonagon has 9 sides. And last but not least, we have the decagon. And the decagon has 10 sides because a decade has 10 years. A decagon has 10 sides. The word deca means 10. So let's talk about congruent. Congruent is when 2 shapes are exactly the same, shape and size. Okay, the position and color don't matter. They can be different colors and still be congruent. Even though this is pink and this is purple, they are congruent because they're the same shape. They're both rectangles and they are the same size. Even though this one's rotated down, yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as they're the same shape and size, they're congruent. What makes them non-congruent, and remember, non-congruent means not congruent, not the same, is because they have either different shapes or different sizes. So here we have the same shape, but they're different sizes. So they are not congruent, non-congruent. These right here, they look like the same shape, but one is bigger than the other. It doesn't matter that they're different colors. That's not what makes them non-congruent. What makes them non-congruent is the fact that this one's bigger than this one. They're not the same size. So if they're not the same size, they're non-congruent. If they're not the same shape, they're definitely non-congruent. All right, now today we're talking about perimeter. Everybody say perimeter. Everybody say perimeter. All right, perimeter. I want to talk to you for a second about what perimeter is. You might have heard on an action movie before, the perimeter is clear, or somebody clear the perimeter. The perimeter is the area, the space around a building, around a shape. It is the outline. So I want you to visualize a fence. Close your eyes and think about maybe a nice fence that you would build to keep some type of animal inside of, let's say cows. I have cows at my house, and so we have to build a fence to keep the cows in. The perimeter is the fence, okay? It's not the space inside of the fence. That's the field. The fence itself is the perimeter because it goes around the field. So the perimeter is like the outline. It's like the outline of a shape. It is not the inside. It's the outside. It's the outline of the shape. So perimeter is when you measure the entire outline of the shape and add all those sides together. It's actually not that difficult to kind of make sense of. So this perimeter here, we have this rectangle. And the top part of this rectangle is 6 units long. The word unit just is a word that we use to stand in case we don't have a measurement. Like, I'm not using inches or feet here. I'm just going to call it a unit. So it's 6 units long. And this side is 4 units long. So if I wanted to find the perimeter, what I would do is add up all of the sides. Well, that doesn't sound too hard. 4 plus 6 is 10, so it must be 10, right? Wrong, because we still have to add up these sides as well. But Miss Weaver, there's no numbers. Well, we already know that the top is 6 units. So the bottom is the exact same size, so the bottom also is 6 units. So we've got 6, and then plus 6 down here would be 12. And then I've got 4 units over here, which would make that 12 plus 4 is 16. And then I also need to add the 4 units that this one is the length of over here. So 16 plus 4 is 20. So altogether, this would be 20 units. So I would add up the sides 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4, which gives me 20. The perimeter equals 20 units. And if you wanted to shorten the word perimeter, you can just put a P there to stand for perimeter. So I would just put P equals 20 units because that is how much the perimeter is around this entire shape. The length of it is 20 units. Next, there is another way you could do perimeter. That is if you are given a key. I will be very honest with you. This is the type of perimeter that you're probably going to see on your SOL test or any other type of benchmark testing, because they like to see if you can estimate, which is guess, how many of these little pieces it would take to get around this whole shape. So I'm going to break this down for you and show you an easy way of how to do that. First of all, you're going to want to use the guide. The guide is what you're given, the key. The key helps you figure out the answer. It kind of helps you unlock the problem and figure it out because it's a key. So this key right here tells us that this purple line is equal to 1 inch. And a lot of times they'll also tell it to you again right here because they want to make sure you see it. So this little purple guy right here is equal to 1 inch. So I'm going to try to make an educated guess on how many I could fit on this top row and then how many I could fit going down. And then I'm going to add all of the sides together. So first of all, it says that this little purple guy is 1 inch long. What I like to do is I like to look at my computer screen. I like to take my finger, kind of get an estimate for how long it is by holding my finger up to the inch, figuring out that it's about this long, and then using my finger to kind of see how many I can fit on that top line, because that's our first line that we need to figure out. So I want you to get out your fingers. I want you to hold it up to the computer screen and kind of measure using your fingers and see how many of them you could fit up there using that. I'm getting about 4. I could fit about 4 inches on that top line. So for me, I measured that as 4, and then I'm going to take that same measurement, that same exact length with my fingers, and then go down the sides. So far I know the top is 4 inches, which means the bottom is also going to be 4 inches because they're the same length. And then I'm going to measure the side. I can fit 1, 2. I'm going to say 2 on that. And then you're going to add it together. So 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2. So I had 4 on top because I could fit 4 of those little inches on top. And the top is the same length as the bottom. So I don't need to measure the bottom because I already know that both of those are 4. So 4 plus 4. And then the side, I got about 2 inches on each side. So there's 2 sides. They're the same length. So 2 plus 2. So always make sure that you're adding all the sides together. 4 for this top one plus 2 for this side plus 4 for the bottom plus 2 for this side. When I add that together, I do get 12. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. That gives me 12 inches. The perimeter is 12 inches for this rectangle. That is just the length around the rectangle. Perimeter is the length around it. So P equals 12 inches here. That is our answer. Or one more way, you might see a polygon that's been divided into what we call square units, okay? In our next lesson, you're going to look at area, and area is a lot easier than finding the perimeter because area is just finding how much is inside. Perimeter is going around. So for perimeter, we're going to count how many sides of each of those little blocks it takes to get around the whole thing. I'm going to show you what I mean here. We're counting these little sections right here. So this is going to count as 1. That's going to count as 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the top, it took 5 sections to make that entire top line. So we're going to do 5 plus, let's count the side now. Don't forget to count the corners. You have to count this side, that's one side, but also this side is shown as well. So we're going to count this side too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 5 plus 4. Now we're going to add the bottom, which we should already know is the same as the top. So we know that it's also 5. Let's count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got 4 more on the other side because we already counted one side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I'm going to add 5 on top plus 4 on the side plus 5 on the bottom plus 4 on the other side. So 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4. That gives me 18. Or if you want to, when you make your marks, you can just count your marks up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So our perimeter here is 18 units, or P equals 18 units. So let's see if we can figure this out together. We have a triangle here. It gives us the length of each side. One side is 10 centimeters, one side is 12 centimeters, and the bottom is 10 centimeters. So what we're going to do to find the perimeter is just add all of those numbers together. 10 plus 10 is 20, and 20 plus 12. Put 20 in your head, count up 12, or write down 20 plus 12 and line up the ones in tens place and add it up. Either way, you're going to get 32. So our perimeter is 32 centimeters, and I abbreviated centimeters with cm because that's the abbreviation. So you could put P equals 32 cm because that is our perimeter of the whole shape. Next, we have another one with a key. And this time they kind of helped us out a little bit because they gave us one on this side too to kind of help us figure out how many we can fit. So let's figure out how many we can fit on top. You got your fingers, kind of measure the length of that and see how many you think you can fit on top. I'll give you a minute to figure out how long you think it's going to take to measure the top. How many inches do you think the top is? How many of those little purple marks could we fit up there? We could fit 3. And on the sides, we could fit 1, 2. So we're going to do 3 for the top, plus 2 for the side, plus 3 for the bottom, plus 2 for the other side, which is going to equal 10. Okay, that's going to give us 10 inches. Our perimeter is 10 in, or the shortest way to write it is P equals 10 inches. All right, guys, last one. This one is where we count how many sections it takes to get around the entire shape. So let's go ahead and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I'm getting this first number from, 4. Then let's count the sides going down. 1, 2, 3. 4 plus 3 plus 4 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 3 on this side. So 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 equals 14. 14 units. P equals 14 units, and that's the perimeter. So perimeter is when you measure around. It's like a fence. You're measuring the length around the entire shape, the entire polygon, the entire rectangle, square, pentagon, whatever you're measuring around, the perimeter is around it. Tomorrow we're going to talk about area, and area is going to be inside. But perimeter goes around, okay? So when they say secure the perimeter, they mean secure the space around the outline of the building, the outline of the shape, whatever, okay? So perimeter means around the shape and adding all of that together to get the length. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions. I hope that this video was helpful, and good luck.